So there are various ways by which we can measure temperature, various scales or various units by which we can measure temperature. So we can measure temperature using degrees Celsius. We can use degree Fahrenheit, or we can use the Kelvin. And these three different units by which we can measure temperature have different temperature scales. So we have the Celsius scale, the Fahrenheit scale, and the Kelvin scale. And it's possible for us to be able to move from one scale to the other. For example, if you are given a temperature in Celsius or in Fahrenheit and you are asked to find the value for that temperature in degrees Celsius, you should be able to do that. And or for example, you're moving from degrees Celsius to degree Kelvin, you should still be able to do that. And if you look at the notes, you see that we have conversion factors, and what these conversion factors does is that they help us to move from one temperature scale to the other. For example, let's say you want to move from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Kelvin to degrees Celsius. I beg your pardon. This is you're going to use equation 1 to do that. If you want to move from degrees Celsius to degrees Kelvin, you're going to use equation 2 to do that. And in the same vein, if you want to move from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, you can use equation 3. And in the next slide, we're going to see how we can actually use these three equations, equation 1, 2, and 3, to solve or to move from one temperature scale to the other. Now notice when we say TK, it's actually temperature in the Kelvin scale, also known as absolute temperature, and TC is the temperature in the Celsius scale, and TF is the temperature in the Fahrenheit scale. Now let's try to solve this example. Now it says that convert 42 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit and to Kelvin. Now the first thing you're going to do is to write the equation to leave from Celsius to Kelvin to Fahrenheit. So what is that equation? The equation says that if I want to move from degrees Celsius to degree Kelvin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that temperature in Celsius and add it to 273.15, and I'm going to get that answer in Kelvin. Now, so the equation I'm using right now is equation 2 in this case. So let's now solve this problem. So what do we have? We have our temperature in Celsius, and it's 42. So if we add that to 273.15, we're gonna have that at the end our answer will be 315.15 Kelvin. So this is our temperature in Kelvin. So what we're trying to say is that 42 degrees Celsius is the same as 315.15 Kelvin. That's what we are indirectly trying to say. Now the next question says that we should also convert 42 degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. So like I said, the first thing is writing down the equation, and from the equation we have that to convert from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, it will be 9/5. You multiply that by the whatever temperature you are given in Celsius, and you add that to 32. And if we go back, you'll see that will be equation 3 in the other slide. So using equation 3, let's see how we can leave from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit, right? So what do we have? We have that, so this is going to be 9/5 times the temperature that we've been given in degrees Celsius is 42. So multiply this by 42, but whatever our answer is, we have to add that to 32. And if you do that multiplication, what you're gonna have is 107 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we are saying here is also that 42 degrees Celsius is the same as 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's how you're able to convert from one temperature scale to the next. So we have these different temperature scales, and on my right what you can find is that we have a thermometer, and this thermometer has two different scales. It can measure temperature in degrees Celsius. It can also measure temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. And well, we have some note as to how these temperatures came about, how these various temperature scales came about. The Celsius scale came about in from the 1700s by Anders Celsius, and it has a certain freezing point which is 0 degrees, and the boiling point is 100 degrees. So when I mean freezing point, I'm talking about at that point where water freezes, when water turns to ice or liquid turns to ice, it's 0 degrees. And we have the boiling point where water liquid turns into gas, it's 100 degrees. And we have those various scales. So we have the Fahrenheit scale, which was also in the 1600, late 1600 to the early 1700 by G.D. Fahrenheit. And in for the Fahrenheit scale, the freezing point is 32 degrees, while the boiling point is 212. And we also have the Kelvin scale by Lord Kelvin, and the freezing point is 273, and the boiling point is 372. Now, I'm going to stop here, but we're going to proceed with the next video.